49ers make it look easy, and Brock Purdy's return to action week 11 against the Arizona Cardinals, 41-22. Our biggest takeaways, immediate reaction, and game balls from week 11 right now.
You are Locked On 49ers, your daily San Francisco 49ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On 49ers. Brian Peacock and Eric Crocker at BD Peacock at Coach Crocky. Thanks, everybody, for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And thank you once again for making us the number one sports podcast network. And we're going to get into all the action from today's game. Big win for the San Francisco 49ers in week 11, a game they needed to have, a game that puts them in a really good spot here now in the final 6 games down the stretch of the 2025 season. And this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. And right now, new customers at FanDuel, all you got to do is bet $5. If that bet wins, you get $50 in, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the FanDuel app if you win that first $5 bet. I said in the open, Croc, it was an easy win. Did the 49ers come out and make this look easy, or did the Arizona Cardinals make this too easy on the San Francisco 49ers? As one of our listeners put it, a game ball to the referees in this one on the 49ers side a little bit. I don't know if there was anything that was skewed out crazy, but certainly an insane 15 the last I checked. I don't even know what the final number was of the penalties for the Arizona Cardinals, but man, it was one of those where they put Madden on easy mode, and when they needed the ball back, they got the ball back. There was a interception here, an interception there. When they needed a penalty, a big play, they got a penalty, got the flag there. When they needed just roll down the field and score, they rolled down the field and score. It was a win the 49ers needed to have here against the Arizona Cardinals. And it was really good for, I think, the morale of the team and the fans to watch a team go out there, especially after they looked against the Rams, and win a football game fairly easy and see Brock Purdy out there near 100% health. He was running around a little bit, making some plays. He was getting tackled and then getting back up and looking very sharp in his return to action for the 49ers.
Yeah, one of the things I was really excited to see was the special teams. And I talked about that being one of the phases that the 49ers just had to win. And early on, Sky Moore returns a kickoff return all the way to the 2-yard line or so. And then the next play, 49ers punching in for a touchdown. So right there, you got special teams kind of swinging in your direction. 49ers ADP, which he suffered an injury. I'm not sure what it is. Hopefully it's not too bad. But ADP, 3 for 3 on field goals. PATs, 49ers not very strong in this game, or extra points in general, or 2-point conversions that they tried to get in general. But kicking-wise, ADP was very solid. And I thought those were 2 areas where they clearly favored the 49ers. So field position, overall, the 49ers won that part of the game with interceptions being returned, setting up an early touchdown. A lot of, again, special teams taking an effect for the 49ers. A lot of things going the 49ers' way early and often in this game.
Really big. And when you see a victory that is that easy, it's not just that you're whooping up on the other team. It was you're winning in the margins as well. And we talked about all 3 phases of the game that the 49ers won in this one. They made big plays on offense. They made big plays on defense. They made big plays on special teams. And they won the turnover battle. They won the penalty battle. So they won every aspect of this football game. And that's why the scoreboard ended up looking as lopsided as it did, even though Jacoby Brissett set an NFL record with 47 completions in this game. Croc, 47 of 57 was Jacoby Brissett. They abandoned the run early. They had to. Niners went down and scored in 15 seconds to start this game. Brissett's stat line is kind of crazy. He ended up with 47 completions on 57 attempts for 452 passing yards. He had 2 touchdowns, did throw the 2 interceptions as well. But what a stat line in this one for a team that only put up 22 points.
I would say about 130 yards or so of that was definitely in garbage time.
Yeah.
I think another 100 yards was just the circumstances having to throw the ball a lot because they were down so much early. But the part that does still worry me, right, garbage stats or not, the efficiency. right? Like he was super efficient. He did have the interception that he threw to Malik Mustafa, had another interception that he threw to Diamador Lenore. For most of this game, outside of that, he had like 8 completions. All right. So no, outside of that, he had like 6 completions, not including the 2 picks. So excuse me, 6 incompletions, not including the 2 interceptions. There we
Right.
go. All right. So he was fairly efficient. Now, when the 49ers needed to play, obviously they made those plays, took away the ball. The Malik Mustafa interception, kind of forcing it downfield, that was right before halftime. But aside from that, he was really efficient. I thought the 49ers had no answer for 2 guys that we mentioned in the pregame show, Wilson and McBride. And then another guy that we slightly mentioned, Dort. He kind of came on late, but again, a lot of that garbage time. Overall, I think the 49ers are still kind of searching defensively for who they are. A couple of opportunistic situations, forcing a fumble as a guy was trying to go into the end zone, so that took points off the board. But there was very little resistance when it came to the 49ers stopping anything from the Arizona Cardinals through the air.
Yeah, let's finish that portion of it because I think there's a lot to talk about with the 49ers offense and how everything looked with multiple touchdowns for Kittle and McCaffrey and Brock Purdy facilitating a lot of it. You got to give game balls to Lenore and Mustafa for getting the turnovers. Interceptions are something the 49ers have really had a tough time coming up with this
It's
season.
been almost a year, right?
Season.
Almost a calendar year.
So getting 2 interceptions in the same game is like, oh my gosh, it's like a waterfall of interceptions for the San Francisco 49ers defense. So good on Lenore and Mustafa, and especially for Lenore to see him out there because he didn't think he was going to play with the injury late in the week. And it turned out he was able to be out there. Nice return on one of them. I hope he didn't hurt himself in the process of that return. But you got to give some game balls there. And I don't know if there's a lot of game balls that belong on the defensive side of the ball, Croc. But as was mentioned in the chat, we did finally get a sighting of 49ers third-round rookie Nick Martin on defense. And so you got to give Nick Martin the honorable mention game ball because he might have made the biggest play of the game, Croc, which was the first time I've noticed him on defense all season long. 45. I was like, is that really 45 on defense? Nick Martin playing a defensive snap? And it was on a play where Bam Knight had a long touchdown run, but it got called back because Nick Martin was getting held on the play. So huge play for Nick Martin in his first action on defense. Look, they ran right at him too. And so if he didn't get held, it might have been a big negative for Nick Martin. But he was out there and he did take some other snaps in different spots on the 49ers defense. They did get banged up at linebacker. Multiple players. Bethune left the game. Robinson was in and out as well as Gifford too. So Nick Martin did get a few snaps. He was in on the 2-point conversion and kind of cleaned up what Gifford started there to stop the 2-point conversion for the Arizona Cardinals. So not a great day on defense for the San Francisco 49ers, I think. And clearly it's going to be something where the offense is going to be forced to help the 49ers win those games, and the defense is going to have to bend, not break. I think that's what that unit is going to look like most of the rest of the season here. But they were not needed to come up big on defense. It was nice to have those interceptions, but this was a game where they scored so many points on offense that they really had the Arizona Cardinals on the ropes from the opening kickoff, literally from the opening kickoff. So let's talk about the 49ers offense, what they were able to do to put points on the board, and I think a whole bunch of game balls to give out in this 41-22 win for the San Francisco 49ers in Week 11 next. This episode of Locked On 49ers brought to you by Mint Mobile. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. Just say yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for just $15 a month. Mint makes it simple. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can even bring your own phone and keep your same number and contacts. And man, if you're getting the same quality service you had before, but for a fraction of the price, then what are you even waiting for? Mint Mobile. Are you ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch now. MintMobile.com/LockedOnNFL. That's MintMobile.com/LockedOnNFL. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for the first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabyte on an unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. And I know I got to let the listeners know about my favorite jeans. They are my doers. And I was shout out to my father-in-law and my family in Visalia, California. They were able to reopen their restaurant finally. There was a huge fire downtown Visalia, and Alejandro's restaurant is back. There was the soft open, so I was able to go hang out with some family and have some great Mexican food. And it's really cool to see this beautiful new restaurant is now open next to the Fox Theater in Visalia. And I was wearing my Doer jeans because they look great, they feel great, and it's the perfect time to put on your jeans if you're going to go hang out with family, hang out with friends, whatever you're doing, going about your day, whether it's work or fun or dinner and drinks after work or even sporting events. And you can try out those Doer jeans for yourself in San Francisco, brand new store in Hayes Valley, 567 Hayes Street. Pick up a pair for yourself or as an amazing holiday gift and mention our promo code Locked On SF in store to get 15% off your first order, or just check them out online at shopdoer.com/LockedOnSF for 15% off. That's shopdoer.com/LockedOnSF. Brock Purdy, 3 touchdown passes for Brock Purdy in his return, 19 of 26 passing, 200 yards. They didn't need to lean on the passing game a lot in this game because they were so far ahead so early. And in fact, it was really easy for Brock Purdy after a 98-yard kickoff return from Sky Moore to just hand the ball off to Christian McCaffrey for a quick 2-yard score, and you're up 7-0. Then they ran down the field and scored again with another touchdown pass to George Kittle. One of 2 touchdown receptions for George Kittle on the day. He caught all 6 of his 6 targets for 67 yards and a couple of touchdowns. More on the playmakers, Kittle and McCaffrey and more. But what'd you see from Brock Purdy out there in his 3 touchdown performance in his return crop?
Man, he came out and he hit it deep out route. I thought the concept was terrific. The pull coverage vertically, came underneath, had the nice out route, threw a very accurate ball, came back with another completion, and then the touchdown to George Kittle, which it looked like he may have hot routed that and threw a terrific ball on outside over the top of the coverage, making it impossible for anyone from the defender to make a play on that pass. I thought he came out hot and firing. I thought after that he started playing a little bit more. I don't know what the word for it is. I don't want to say like a little bit more average, but obviously the highlight of the day was his opening drive. I'd say his opening drive, and then on one of the last drives where it ended up leading to a touchdown, a rushing touchdown by Christian McCaffrey. It was a 3rd and long situation where he floated one to Christian McCaffrey. That was a terrific throw as well. But so you it was like a bookend good day. I thought in between there were some things you ideally don't want to see, right? Just kind of late on the throw, forcing another throw, maybe not seeing underneath coverage, a couple interception opportunities. But outside of that, I thought he played a game where it was like, well, I don't have to do much. I don't have to do a whole lot in this game. The 49ers did a terrific job defensively. Arizona Cardinals they did a good job defensively, capitalizing on Arizona's penalties that they had, which was like a record for the season or whatever it was. I mean, there was a ton of penalties from Arizona, but I think this wasn't the game for Brock Purdy to have to go out there and do crazy things. So the things that I saw were very encouraging. There were a few passes I saw that looked like they had good zip on it. I know some of us was wondering, man, what is it going to look like? Is he going to be able to push off of that toe and be able to drive throws? Guy did a decent job with that. And overall, guy looked a lot like Brock Purdy. So I think that's a plus for the 49ers.
Yeah, that was pretty much the test. Just make sure you look like Brock Purdy and that it not look like against the Jacksonville Jaguars in week 4. And he passed that test with flying colors, even got out and moved a little bit. Had the 1 sack where he was trying to get out of trouble. Sweat did have a couple of pressures on Purdy, but overall I was able to make plays and looked a lot like Brock Purdy, which is important for the 49ers. So nice game for Brock Purdy. Got to give him a game ball in his return back to action and as efficiently as he ran the San Francisco 49ers offense. And George Kittle, 2 touchdowns, getting the team hyped, obviously doing his work. I mean, there's not much to say about George Kittle. He's probably, Croc, in the 8 years that I've been doing this podcast, and how many years have you been doing it with me? And we do game balls after every game. George Kittle has to be the all-time leader in Locked On 49ers game balls, right? And he gets another one today.
Yeah, definitely. I've been with you since 2001. I believe so. Over 4 years now, and George Kittle definitely a leader. I think next up would be Chris McCaffrey for sure. And it was at one point where you could just give Chris McCaffrey a game ball every single game. But George Kittle,
He's
when
that
he
guy
had
this
these type
year,
of
yeah.
games, when Kittle has these type of games, it's like, well, of course, this should be him every game. And sometimes that's our gripe with the 49ers. And I always say, when the 49ers are 100% on targets to George Kittle, he did not get enough targets. So he caught 6 passes on 6 targets, 67 yards, 2 touchdowns. I believe it wasn't enough. But in a game like this, where the 49ers are clearly ahead and running away from the opponent, I'll give them a pass this one time.
Yeah, should have had at least 3-4 more targets in this one. Probably would have had another touchdown at the ratio he was going in this game. You know who did have 3 touchdowns in this game was Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, he's got to be number 2 behind George Kittle because he's such a big part of every single 49ers game, and he was again in this one. But what I love to see from Christian McCaffrey is the success in the efficiency on the ground, not just volume. And 6.2 yards per carry, that's more like it for a Kyle Shanahan offense, being able to run the football, being able to tell the other team, look, we have a lead and we're going to run it, and we're still going to get 6.2 yards per carry on the ground for Christian McCaffrey. They didn't have to lean on him. He didn't have an egregious number of touches in this game. It was the perfect game to be able to spread the ball around, get the ball to George Kittle, get the ball to Christian McCaffrey, have some plus starting field position after some turnovers and get some quick scores as well, and special teams plays. So Christian McCaffrey, 81 yards on the ground, 13 carries, 6.2 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns on the ground. He had a reception for a score as well. At that, the touchdown catch for Christian McCaffrey, he had 5 for 40 through the air, and the other score. You're in the red zone, and you're a linebacker, and you're just like, oh, yeah, 23 is probably not going to get the ball. Oh, shoot, he got the ball and scored a touchdown. What the heck? Like, why? How you not covering this dude out of the backfield in the red zone? It's kind of crazy, that little out.
Did you see what happened?
We're not going to cover the out. You see Kyle Juszczyk making a few catches on those. It's like, look, a running back should come out of the backfield, man.
Well, it was a pick play.
Yeah.
And George Kittle did a terrific job. The guy, which was a linebacker who was responsible for Christian McCaffrey, Kittle essentially just kind of ran right into him and kind of acted like he was trying to run by him. And it picked that linebacker off, made it super clean and easy for Christian McCaffrey, wide open in the flat, to catch the ball and get into the end zone with 0 resistance. So terrific play design by Kyle Shanahan.
Kyle on his game in this one. Kyle Juszczyk did get a couple of catches in this one. Ricky Pearsall did not have a catch, or did he have a catch? He did have a catch, but it was for 0
He did
yards.
have a catch. It was like short yardage.
Yeah. So he had 3 targets. Caught one of them. It was 1 catch for 0 yards was the stat line there. So not much of a stat line for Ricky Pearsall, but the fact that he was out there and on the football field, I think, was big for the 49ers. So kind of, no Ayuk yet, but as close as they've been to getting the gang back together. Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Ricky Pearsall out there. I think the 49ers offensive line is starting to play a little healthier and play a little better as well. I mentioned a couple of pressures from Josh Sweat, and one did have the sack of Purdy, tried to get out of there and couldn't get away from him. But overall on offense, a huge day for the 49ers to be able to go out there, score 41 points, score early, score often, score quickly. And it's going to be a team that I think needs to be led by that offense. And so really cool to see efficiency and a lot of points on the scoreboard for the 49ers in this one on offense.
In the chat, we have a comment that says, love the split of carries this game with Brian Robinson. And we talked about that split from last game. It was very similar, if not identical. I don't have it in front of me what they did last game, but I feel like it's very close.
It was 1 carry off. I think it was 8 for Robinson, 12 for McCaffrey last week, and it was 8 and 13 this week.
Right. So 8 and 13, and then with Christian McCaffrey getting another 5 catches, right? So 18 touches, I'll take that. We've seen games where McCaffrey's touching the ball 26, 27, 28, 30 times. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot of wear and tear. But 18, I think that's the sweet spot. Obviously, he had a lot of success on the ground. Having those 13 carries for 81 yards or whatever it was, like, very efficient day. That's awesome. But I would keep his touches around there and feel very comfortable with that.
Absolutely. I love it. Perfect. Perfection as far as threading that needle for Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers on this day. It's a little bit easier when you were able to dictate the terms in a game where you're way ahead early and you're able to stay ahead. And so we'll see if that is able to continue for the 49ers over the course of the next 6 games or so. More on the 49ers win against the Arizona Cardinals, 41-22. A couple other notes from some other games that happened Sunday as well. It was a really good Sunday of football action. And I think another game or two might have just gone final while we were recording as well, especially another big game going on with the NFC West teams playing each other on this Sunday. We'll get into all of that and more game balls to give out. And let us know if you got any game balls in the live chat that you want to give out for the 49ers on this Week 11 Sunday next. Today's episode of Lockdown 49ers brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. The NBA, it's back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of a game and you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next, fourth quarter comebacks, plus you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's the one making that late push. So whether it's the Warriors NBA action, where it's the 49ers NFL action, college football, NHL, and there's draft props. There is tons of other player props and season-long props that you can get in on the NBA and the NFL. You can find it all. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, Croc. Let me just check my list to make sure I don't have any other game balls that we definitely have to give out here. Purdy, McCaffrey, Kittle. I had to highlight the interceptions from Lenore and Mustafa. The Arizona penalties is really a big one. I kind of had Nick Martin and the rookies. We saw some late action in garbage time from a lot of the rookies out there. So Nick Martin out there flying to the football, by the way. I would love to see more Nick Martin out there on the field. I think he does help the 49ers in certain roles. And whether it be a dime linebacker or, Sam or Will or whatever it is, get him out there on the football field. And it looks like Gifford is kind of the next guy after Bethune and Robinson there after Bethune's injury. So Gifford getting some inside linebacker work, which opens up an extra spot at Sam backer. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes going forward. And if Jalen Graham might be someone who gets called up to have an extra guy who actually has some reps at inside backer, depending on what this injury is going to look like for Tatum Bethune, who I don't think was able to return to this football game. And by the way, it was a hamstring injury for Eddie Pinheiro. He wasn't even able to try that last 2-point conversion or that last conversion. The 49ers decided to go for a 2-point conversion. Didn't love seeing Brock Purdy run around and getting hit on an extra play that was kind of unnecessary late in the game. So hopefully Bethune, Eddie Pinheiro, those are two of the bigger injuries that happened from this game in Week 11. But saw a lot of CJ West, a lot of Alfred Collins was back in the lineup. Siegel was in the game a lot late. So you really got to see some extra work for a lot of the rookies. And last week we had kind of highlighted, Croc, that the rookies snaps had really dwindled in recent weeks. And so I wonder if they, in a game like this, they were able to show some more stuff, get a little bit more confidence. And I don't think we've seen the end of a lot of the rookies. I know Upton Stout's still out there starting, but I think I really want to see the tandem of Alfred Collins and CJ West. To be honest with you, I think they're both better than Elliott. And so let's see it. Let's see those two rookies out there in the middle of that defensive line, and maybe get a little bit more Nick Martin work, a little bit more Siegel work, as he's taken a back seat in recent weeks, and they were all out there in garbage time running around and had an opportunity to play. So it's going to be a big part of this development of this football team going forward, even if they're not a huge impact group the rest of 2025. They're going to have to be a big part of this thing in 2026 and beyond. So I like seeing some of the rookies out there late and reminders of what they can do. And Nick Martin able to fly around. It's like, oh yeah, he can go run and hit guys. We saw that in a little bit in the preseason.
Well, I think a couple game balls can kind of go to Curtis Robinson, D Winners. Both of those guys combined for 22 total tackles between the two guys. And not so great in coverage, right? If they had anything to do with what was going on with Trey McBride, who had 10 catches, 415 yards, but in the run game. Now, the game flow was in the 49ers' favor, but 36 total rushing yards on 14 carries, 2.6 yards per carry. Thought the 49ers did really good there in that department. Now, part of that, there was a big run early on in this game that was called back by a holding penalty on Arizona Cardinals. I believe it was like a third down and short situation. Boom, running back sprung out down the right sideline. It might have been a 50-yard run, 45-yard run, whatever it was, but it got taken back. So those numbers are not included in their total rushing yards, of course, but overall, the 49ers did a really good job of stopping Arizona Cardinals, making it more difficult. All right, Jacoby Brissett, you go win the game for Arizona. Clearly, he was not capable of doing that, even while being efficient. Armando says it was fourth down, so I thought maybe it was third down, fourth down.
That went for it on fourth down and then busted out a big run. And then, that was Nick Martin. And again, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, he might have been on the field before that. The first time I've seen Nick Martin on defense, and he was the one that was held on the edge there on the outside by the tight end. And
it was clearly holding.
Yeah, it was holding. It was for sure holding. I mean, game ball to Kyle Shanahan, I think, in this one, right? Division game, big game, really important one for the 49ers to get. You got to beat those teams that are beatable down the stretch. And the one down, I've talked about how they needed to win 4 more to get to 10 wins. They got 7 wins now, so 1 down. They got to go 500 the rest of the way, and I think that punches their ticket to the playoffs. So can they go 3-3? I think they can. And they highlighted on the telecast, I saw the where they have the easiest schedule in the NFL over the course of the next 3 games, and then the hardest schedule in the NFL in the final 3 games. So you want to have those games, those wins banked before you get to that final stretch of 3 games against the Colts, the Bears, and still the Bears is the biggest game on the schedule as far as percentage of this win or loss helps you or hurts you the most getting into the playoffs this year. Just the way things are going in the NFC for those wild card spots. The Bears game week 17 might have the biggest impact on that. And obviously they're in the season with the Seattle Seahawks, who lost to the Rams today, Croc.
Yeah, well, following up on you giving Kyle Shanahan a game ball, I agree with that, because you beat a team the way you were supposed to beat a team, especially with the issues that they had, whether it was special teams or the turnovers. You did
Injuries
not see that from the Rams. Like the right. Rams, the Seahawks, goddamn Sam Darnold turned the ball over like 5 times through 40. Every time I looked up, because I had if you got YouTube TV, you got the 4 split screens. So I got the 49ers on one. I'll have a couple games on the other ones. Then I have Red Zone on one. Every time I looked up at the Rams game, like, it was an interception. And I kept thinking maybe they were just showing a highlight of the interception earlier in the game. Like, no, this is a new interception that this guy just threw. And somehow, some way, the Seahawks still had a chance to try to kick a field goal to win the football game. Like, you turn the ball over 5 times, it is supposed to be a blowout. And it wasn't. I thought that was odd. But the 49ers, with the advantageous situations that this team was put in today, they handled the Cardinals the exact way you were supposed to.
Yeah, and the Seahawks defense is pretty good, and the Rams went up 14-3 in the first quarter. He's like, man, they're going to blow out the Seahawks, aren't they? And the Seahawks defense got the ball back for him multiple times, and Sam Darnold kept giving the ball back to the Rams offense. And 4 interceptions for Sam Darnold in that game, and they were still lined up to kick the game-winning field goal. Did not make it. So the Rams improved to 8-2, now commanding 1-game lead over those Seattle Seahawks, who were 7-3 atop the NFC West. That was 21-19. So that's the way this one's looking. And, the Niners and Seahawks tied now. So the Niners can try to play spoiler potentially how things, this could come down to week 18 and not only a play-in game, but winner goes home, knock the Seahawks out of the playoffs. Maybe the 49ers win a bunch. The Seahawks go on a losing streak. Maybe you knock the Seahawks out completely. Maybe it's not for the West. Maybe it is for the West. Maybe it's for the 7th seed. Maybe it's for the 5 seed. There's a lot of ways this could go down the stretch, but man, 3 teams in the West now, 8 wins, 7 wins, 7 wins with the Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers. So, and obviously Niners and Rams already split. And the worst the 49ers can do with the Seahawks is split, and they've already swept the Cardinals now. So one of the tiebreakers after head-to-head is division record. And the 49ers are looking really good with that already with only one of those division games to go. And then it's conference record. So those conference games are really important. Niners check 2 of those boxes with the win over the Arizona Cardinals here in week 11. So 49ers in a good spot going forward. That's going to do it for us. Appreciate all of the everydayers out there hanging with us post game. Let us know what you think about this one at BD Peacock, at Coach Crocky. Holler at us on the YouTube comments and make sure you subscribe while you're there. And thank you all once again for making us your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network.